Ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagua is back in the country. And clearly, Rigathi Gachagua is angry and very bitter with the two individuals. Rigathi Gachagua is bitter with Moses Kuria and David Ndii. Moses Kuria is the cabinet secretary for trade, while David Ndii is the economic advisor to the president. For those who've been following the politics of the Republic of Kenya very closely, in the past 2 days now, Kenyans have been ranting over the high cost of fuel. But Moses Kuria and David Ndii have been rubbing it on the face of Kenyans. And it was expected that immediately Rigathi Gachagua was going to land in the country, William Ruto, probably they were going to give Kenyans a way forward. And Rigathi Gachagua, the first thing he did was to post that long statement. And of course, Kenyans did not even wait for a second to pass before asking him where the tigers are. Now, I want us to go through this this Rigathi Gachagua statement. And just like I keep on telling you, in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Everything is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. I want us to look at why Rigathi Gachagua posted this post here immediately he landed in the country. Let me just start by going through the statement. It's a bit long statement, but I want to go through it verbatim. Rigathi is saying, "Good afternoon, Kenyans. I am home. I am happy to be back after a fruitful visit to Colombia. As the saying goes, east or west, home is best." Okay, that's okay. While away, I keenly kept abreast discussions back home, especially on the recent spike in oil prices, which, though global, have not spared us. I have noted with concern the exchanges between public servants and the people of Kenya. Now, let's just call a spade and spade. Kenyans have been talking or exchanging with the two individuals, David Ndii, Moses Kuria, and to some extent, there is also Davis Chirchir and the Chilugui guy. And the statement proceeds. I want to call upon fellow leaders, particularly those our president, His Excellency William Ruto, has given the privilege to serve Kenyans, to exercise caution in addressing their employer, the people of Kenya. It is insensitive to talk down on the people. Of course, I agree with Rigathi Gachagua. But Rigathi Gachagua should not forget one thing, that just the other day, he was dividing the country into shareholding. And his proceeding, I would like to remind them that although the people of Kenya did not employ them directly, they decisively elected His Excellency President William Ruto, who in turn appointed them cabinet secretaries and advisors. Now it's going directly to what we are talking about. And hence, by virtue of this, they are employed by Kenyans. You do not address your employers with arrogance. So do so with humility and decorum. Kenyans, like the rest of the world, are going through difficult economic times, and leaders should address them with sensitivity and empathy. Now, again, if you read this statement, and Kenyans are in agreement that this is actually the first time Rigathi Gachagua is now appearing for the first time as a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. And is proceeding, responsible leaders should be sensitive and inspire hope to the people, the hope for a better tomorrow. Talking down on the people and demoralizing those who look up to them for solutions and a way out of the difficult situation they find themselves in is not good leadership. Please do not spite the people of Kenya. Of course, David Ndii is the economic advisor to the president. When the cost of fuel went up, Kenyans expected Ndii to provide solution. But Ndii is telling Kenyans that he's not the solution provider, that he can't even believe his own boss, President William Ruto. And Rigathi Gachagua is proceeding here. President Ruto always encourages us to offer servant leadership. Be humble and serve with humility. I don't know when the word humility became part and parcel of Rigathi Gachagua's vocabulary. I don't think Rigathi Gachagua is humble, and I'm not sure whether humility is part of him. But of course, what he's saying here is how leadership should be. And he's proceeding with deep respect. I would like to plead with the people of Kenya to appreciate that the issue of fuel prices is a worldwide challenge. Things will get better as we move along. The government remains aware of and is sensitive to the challenges Kenyans are facing today. The arrogant statement by a few leaders do not in any way reflect the official government position or that of President William Ruto. Now, if you read this part, you now understand something, that you cannot run a government on propaganda. You can't. And I'm going to play a very short clip just now. You can't run a government on propaganda. When Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga told Kenyans that the war in Ukraine was affecting the cost of fuel, these are the same guys who went on top of their cars and told Kenyans that the problems Kenyans were facing as far as fuel is concerned was not as a result of global challenges.
The people telling us about Ukraine and Russia are also telling us that there is no shortage of fuel. They are also trying to blame oil marketers. So they are even conflicted in the reasons why we have an artificial crisis in the country. From their own statement, they are not sure of what to say. Is it because of the war in Ukraine, or is it because of the crisis with our oil marketers?
That it was purely because of state capture. That, for example, Raila Odinga is owning some petrol stations and therefore, just like that, and that it had nothing to do. And of course, they also mentioned the issue of tax. How come now it has now changed that he wants Kenyans to believe that it's about global challenges? The truth is, when Ruto came into power, there were subsidies. And Kenyans are asking William Ruto just the same thing. Please introduce those subsidies. Simple. Remove the taxes that you yourself promised Kenyans. And the statement concludes that President remains committed to finding lasting and sustainable solution to the economic challenges that face our great nation. God bless Kenya. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua, and Kenya Kwanza government are not keen in any way on solving the challenges facing Kenyans. If they were keen, they would not be spending every single week millions and millions of money just going to the villages to launch sewer line, to give fertilizers, responsibilities which can be conducted by others. So in this video, I want us to try and figure out why Rigathi Gachagua had to issue this statement. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to dive in, and let me now play for you the clip where a minister of a republic elsewhere was telling their citizens that you cannot run a country on propaganda. It will catch up with you. That's exactly what is happening to our country today.
In an open economy with market determination of prices, exchange rate movements are the most important indicator of underlying macroeconomic fundamentals. As the saying goes, when in doubt, observe the exchange rate. The lesson from history for governments is that you cannot manage the economy with propaganda. In fact, you can engage in all the propaganda you want, but if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you.
But why do you think Rigathi Gachagua actually issued the statement? Immediately came back into the country. Because as the deputy president, you'd have expected Rigathi Gachagua to come to the office, convene a meeting with Moses Kuria and probably David Ndii and tell them, this is the directive I want you guys to take. Why do you think he decided to issue that statement? Number one, I'm 100% sure that there is a looming reshuffle. And that reshuffle is going to affect the advisors. It's going to affect the cabinet secretaries. Either Moses Kuria is going to be removed to another, it's going to be transferred to another ministry, or is going to be relieved of his duties. For example, there is no way, absolutely no way, William Ruto can go out of the country to meet with investors, alleged investors, and the cabinet secretary for trade is not there because the US government don't recognize him. He will definitely have to leave. And also, I'm questioning why or how William Ruto can go to meet the who is who in ICT world minus Eliud Owalo. I'm yet to understand that. Probably there's a way William Ruto does his things, but for me, those are some of the things that personally I don't get. So I'm sure William Ruto is definitely going to reshuffle his cabinet to reflect on expertise. For example, what is Ababu Namwamba doing in the Ministry of Sports? Ababu Namwamba can perform better as a Minister for Foreign Affairs because he loves traveling. Eliud Owalo, for example, ICT. He's been mostly in sports. If you go to his page, you'll think he's the Minister for Sports. So why don't he be given those kind of responsibility so that he can improve for us the sports? Yeah? What is Alfred Mutua doing in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
Ruto, Mheshimiwa Rais, I want to tell you today from Kakamega. Watu wenye umepatia kazi wamekuingiza kwa mbaya sana. Mtu ambaye anaitwa Minister for Trade, mtu ambaye anaitwa Waziri wa Energy, na mtu ambaye anaitwa your economic advisors, lazima watuambie sisi wa Kenya what did they mean loba mola bakulanga makure from government to government, then things are worse. You sack these people when they pay Yamakura, you can say.
So some of these guys should actually be reshuffled. And that is the message which Rigathi Gachagua is telling them, that you are appointed at the mercy of the president. Number two, I think Rigathi Gachagua came to the country and he was shocked at the popularity of Kenya Kwanza. That Kenya Kwanza popularity has actually reduced with a huge margin. And that is being manifested across the country. In one of my videos, which I did a few hours ago, the people of Kericho, William Ruto's backyard, denied William Ruto's elected leaders chance to speak. But they cheered widely Alfred Keter. So which means Rigathi is shocked and is now reacting. Number three, I also tend to think that this could be government strategy to try and manage the anger in Kenyans. Kenyans are very angry. That's the fact. They don't have food. The government is just extravagant. They don't care. So Kenyans are angry. So Rigathi comes, then he issues a statement. So Kenyans will say, okay, maybe let's wait for Ruto to come. And Ruto will also convene another meeting and probably make some announcement. So the truth is, I'm sure they are just managing the anger. And lastly, this statement, if I understood it well, is about shifting the blame. Who is responsible? Because Kenyans are angry and bitter with the government. But now they are singling out two government officers, Ndii and Moses Kuria, which is not the case. The truth is Kenyans are bitter with the way Kenya Kwanza government is running its affairs. So shifting the blame to Moses Kuria and to David Ndii will not help them. I don't know what you think, because I'm even convinced that on the issue of Maina Njenga, I was told Maina Njenga was arrested. Even on the issue of Maina Njenga, if you were to ask me, even on the issue of Maina Njenga, I'm sure his arrest was intended to divert, not arrest really, but abduction was actually intended to divert the attention of the country from discussing the issue of fuel, because Kenyans have refused. They are insisting on discussing that. Maybe I'll need to do a video on the abduction of Maina Njenga. If you watch this video up to this stage, please let me know in the comment section by just saying, Lee, I'm present. Thank you guys, and until next time, bye-bye.